Hello and welcome to Lesbian Talk, episode 88, with a special guest from the Antipodean places. A flying brick!
Howdy.
But are you actually flying, like right now?
If you can count sitting on a chair that's probably going to collapse, yes.
We can quote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at you. These great yellow somethings hung in the air in exactly the same way that bricks don't.
I like to chuck bricks at people, so that counts.
They're not flying for long, though.
Long enough.
You could put like little, I don't know, those little balsa wood, like plane wings on it, and chuck that.
So, a flying brick, how did you end up on Lesbian Talk today?
Well, I pay you $100 a month, so I can watch your shit early.
Only $50 this month, because Vijendra Varma is not going up until early next month.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was
either that or take up a crippling drug addiction. I made my choice.
It was meant to be. It was meant to get Vijendra Varma up this month, but basically I hit a wall with my own editing, and I'm waiting for a special. I've commissioned a special song to put in its entirety, a cover version of America Fuck Yeah called India Fuck Yeah. So it's going to be, the entire song's going to be in there, so you could actually just extract the audio from the review, cut that part out, and then have that song for yourself to keep. But
if I get around to it.
It's going to be epic. But yeah, plus you're getting like you got a backseat critique of your choice, and you're getting a Hagen reviews of your choice. Do you want to mention what that is? But you don't need to. It can be a surprise.
I might as well. It is a little movie called Black Sheep, and I'm going to leave it up to them to Google it.
And it's not the Chris Farley one.
Wait, this is the one we saw a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was very brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't care. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was. See, Omega refused to watch Mary and Max, which you requested, but then she loved Black Sheep. So apparently you're about, I don't know, they cancelled each other out or something?
Yeah. Mary and Max, it's more depressing than anything else. That's probably the main trigger. Like, it's not like a lot of the other shit, just weird imagery.
I cried at the end.
Oh.
I sort of did too, but yeah.
But if you want to see our backseat critique for Mary and Max, it was me, Robin, and Sarah.
I did actually watch it, so...
You could, well, I was talking to the audience at that point, because I figured you probably did. But just
check... I commented on it.
Check Demanda Hagen on Blip, and you can see our vlog. It's a very fascinating Australian stop-motion film about a friendship between two people who don't have many friends.
Boom.
But what is our subject matter for today, my love?
It's ever so gay. It's actually the first item on the gay agenda for our agenda today. Why don't you say what it is instead of just saying gay over?
Well, we are going to discuss how gay rights are going in different parts of the world, mostly concentrating in Australia and America, because, you know, America did its thing and Australia continues to be shit because of Abbott.
Yeah, that's basically how it goes. Literally, he's wound the country back 20 years and wonders why everyone hates him.
So the Australian system of election, that's kind of like the British one, right? Where you just vote for the party and whoever's the boss of the party gets in? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, before Rudd, wasn't it Rudd, and then it was Gillard, and then it was Rudd again? It was like a kill the leader, take over, kill the leader, take over type thing?
Ironically, there was a documentary on TV called The Killing Season all about that, and the entire media has just been going, well, this was on The Killing Season, you lied about this because we saw it on The Killing Season, etc., etc. And I didn't watch it, so I didn't really give a shit. But they got Julia and they got Rudd, and they were just saying mean shit about each other to camera, so I should have watched it, but I didn't.
It was amazing that I remember, because Gillard, she was like, was she Australia's first female prime minister?
Yes.
And she was like an open, she was an open atheist. She wasn't married. She was living in sin with her partner and everything. But yet she refused to legalize gay marriage. And then Rudd, who's a devout Catholic, towards the end of his tenure, he said he was supporting gay marriage.
Julia was.
Maybe I'm wrong.
They were bringing the bills in, but Julie got kicked out before she could do anything with it. Like, she said she was for it, but she wasn't openly gay, so she just said, well, that's my policy on it.
Okay.
And let the bills in and that, but she got ousted, so yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought she was opposed to it. Okay.
No, she wasn't.
I'm being schooled in Australian politics. This is awesome.
By someone who literally doesn't give a shit half the time and just watches the Chaser recap of it.
I love the Chaser. I have the entire
That's
run
your favorite
of
thing ever. You're always telling me, oh, this is Joe, I love the Chasers, and they did this thing, and I'm like, that's cool, honey.
Yeah, I have the entire run of The War and Everything on DVD. Imported.
I've got a couple of them too. They did another show. They're doing one now, which is Julian, odd cameo from Chaz and Craig. Mm-hmm. And it's called The Checkout. It's about consumer affairs. Cool.
I'm going to try and look into that, because The Chaser and John Safran, I like collecting the stuff I can get from them. I still haven't managed to find a copy of Juggalos and Jedis. I don't think it's been released on DVD. I've seen a bunch of Sean McAuliffe, but I'm not obsessive.
Sean McAuliffe, that's how you say his last name.
Oh, sorry.
He's been in a lot of shit, but I'm not really into him that much either. But trying to think of what else. One of the things I was going to suggest that you watch was Fat Pizza, if you've heard of that.
I have not.
I have, but I've heard of it from a podcast. I think in Yahtzee's Let's Drown Out, Gabriel brought it up. So I've heard of it, but I've heard of something that Hagen hasn't. I win.
But actually, let's leave this to the end where we can talk about Australian media.
Yes.
We'll go into gay marriage stuff. Okay. Abbott is a cunt. That's it for Australia.
Yes.
If you're showing Abbott, write the show.
Isn't there like 72% of Australians, when polled, are in support of gay marriage?
There was something like that, but there are also bills supporting gay marriage, like marriage equality, just changing the constitution to 2 people rather than 1 man, 1 woman. And the problem is our government's largely conservative now because of all the bullshit that was going on with Rudd and Julia. Everyone's just gone, fuck it, we're going conservative again. So they're not supporting it, they're not letting it through.
Yeah, I remember seeing polls on the senators, there was like almost half were in support of it, and then there was a big bunch who were definitely against, and a big bunch who were undecided, and so they wasn't sure how they would vote, how it would come out.
And a lot of those undecided ones have just gone straight negative now, so...
So Australia and Northern Ireland are the only 2 English language countries in the world, unless I'm wrong about this, that don't have gay marriage.
There's probably some country that's got an official English something, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, English as a first language.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're the only 2.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact that I heard. Tony Abbott's sister's a lesbian.
Yes, and she's pissed off at him all the time.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's like whenever Dick Cheney's daughter came out and was all like yelling at Bush for trying to ban gay marriage in 2004. And then just after Bush left office, Dick Cheney was like, yeah, I was always for gay marriage.
Totally. You can ask anyone. I totally said it that one time. No take backsies. I mean, I'm just saying.
But yeah, he's screwed everything up real well. Like I was talking about the internet before. It's like the 44th in the world. Like Romania and a lot of those Central European countries have faster internet than us.
Yeah, you told me. You mentioned exactly how long it takes you to upload a video. Like it was like something ridiculous, like 12 hours.
It was a 30-minute video and it took 14 hours.
Wow.
What size of video? What was the megabyte size?
I'll need to look it up, but it was only 720p MP4, so...
Because have you ever considered using a system like Handbrake or something? Because it basically...
I'm tempted to. I've tried making him smaller, but it doesn't help.
See, Handbrake, you keep the same file size, and the quality loss is only it's a tiny bit. And I use that.
I've bumped the quality down a fair bit, and it still takes 14 hours.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Handbrake keeps the quality pretty much the same as your original file, and it shrinks
just cuts
it a bit.
Frames out. Yeah. I've got it. I just don't use it that much for videos.
Okay, that's the one I use because I extract in QuickTime, and it usually makes it about 1/5 of the size, and the quality's the same pretty much.
I have my ways of feeding it through, but it's still very, very long. It's just the internet being slow, plain and simple.
Jesus Christ! It's like talking to someone in the 19th century.
Oh, that's pretty much what Tony's done.
That'd be so great. Like if we came to visit you and like you had to ride on one of those like big penny farthing bikes with like the really big front wheel and the really little back wheel. She's like, I was just attending the shenanigans. Forgive me.
That would be fucking awesome to take off a ramp. Just saying.
Fucking difficult.
But fucking awesome if you could pull it off.
Yeah, but the first 17 times you break your neck and kill yourself, and then the 18th time you work it out.
Yeah.
That's what the alcohol's for.
But, mixing, you can, what's the word, compare Australia's situation with America's situation, where, ironically, less people support gay marriage, but they've legalized it.
Well, it's not that less people support it, it's that, like, okay, there's a percentage of the population, but I think the population of the U.S. is larger than the population of Australia.
Oh, it is.
Much larger.
I was just saying percentage, like, the percentage of Australians apparently is roughly about 70%, while the population of Americans is roughly 60% who support it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I don't know what the number is in Northern Ireland. It's probably something like 50%. No, it's probably 50%. The nationalists.
Me and two friends.
They just haven't found the right blokes.
Now, the nationalists all support it just to annoy the unionists who were a bunch of conservative, homophobic bigots.
And now that the Republic's got it even more, they're like, oh, they've got it in the South, so they do. Mm-hmm.
This will make us more like the Republic of Ireland.
Just saying. Just saying.
So just under 50%, I'm guessing, plus the sensible unionists.
It would be great if like the Republicans like threatened to bomb straight bars for them not being gay. But yeah.
Not really, because
I mean, like not funny as in it would be funny. I mean that would be like
Because bar bombings did happen in the Troubles quite a bit.
Okay. Well, then not really then. You know what I meant, though. We like...
Yeah. It would be ironic.
It's Irish to be gay. But...
How do we fit this in?
Shit-faced and pissed at the government, but...
How do we fit this in with the fact that we're also supposed to have a lot of children? Ah!
Well, the thing is,
That's what adoption's for!
The thing is, like, I was waiting for this, and it was like, I was on my break. My break was done at, like, 2:30 on Friday, which was, like, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and I'd already had my 20-minute for the day, so I was on the book floor, and I looked at my watch, and it's, like, 3:15, and I'm like, Schrodinger's ruling, because someone had said, okay, on June 26, 2003, the sodomy laws were struck by the Supreme Court. June 26, 2013, DOMA was struck, which I remember because I was sitting there constantly refreshing Twitter until, I saw what happened. So they think, June 26, it's going to be today. I'm like, it's going to be today. So I went up to my supervisor. I was like, can I run up the toilet real quick? Because we don't actually have restrooms in our shop, so you can either take the lift down to the little office area that we have and use the break room toilet, or you can just go up to the one across from McDonald's. And she's like, yeah, sure. So I run up there, and I'm in a toilet stall in a shopping center in Northern Ireland, refreshing my phone, trying to get my 4G to come up in the bathroom, and Twitter finally refreshes, and it's like, Supreme Court granted marriage equality in all 50 states, and then, somebody flushes, and the goes like, Mummy, I can't reach the soap. Mummy, I need help, you need to pick me up, I can't reach the soap. And I'm, staring at my phone in a toilet stall, but it was just so surreal. And so then I get back, and I'm like, you guys. And everyone's like, oh, well, happy days. Sure, that's grand. But then I had to explain...
You should have got some Joe Jacksons to celebrate.
I'm still on the clock. But,
Joe Jackson's a nice ice cream place in Derry.
It is a nice ice cream place. It has nothing to do with
ice cream place.
The dad of Michael Jackson.
But continue, honey.
Oh, but so... and then, of course, I had to explain how the Supreme Court works and how the difference between state and federal laws. Like, everyone, they're like, oh, but I thought that you were already married in America. I'm like, yeah, but we got married in D.C., and then, like, half a year later, it was federally protected, and see, but now... And then someone was like, yeah, but aren't all those guys running for president saying that they're gonna to undo it? And I'm like, yeah, but they'd have to amend the Constitution, and that's really hard, or, you know...
Yeah, you could have just been all like, well, that's like we're legally married in Belfast, but Northern Ireland doesn't accept it while England does. And they're like, okay, and this is like Westminster saying everyone's got gay marriage. And then the unionist guy would be like, God bless the UK.
God bless the UK. Okay.
If you want funny, gay marriage was actually legal in Canberra for about a week. And it was the week before Tony Abbott came in.
Oh, I heard about that. And
yeah,
did people get married in that time? And are they still legally married?
Yes, they did. But I think it's still legally binding, but they can't do it anymore.
So it's like Prop 8?
I think so.
Okay, well, that's...
Yeah. Essentially for a week in Canberra you could get gay married, but yeah.
Wow.
But that was the first thing Tony Abbott did when he came in, was automatically reverse it.
Jackass.
See, you know that there was this preacher who was like, I tell you what, things and stuff, if gay marriage passes, I will set myself on fire and protest. And everyone's like, right.
Do it.
He's like, I wasn't being literal, I was just comparing myself to that South Vietnamese Buddhist guy in the Vietnam War.
I didn't actually mean it. I just
Seriously,
said it.
I'd supply the meth bar.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I'd say I'd supply the meth bar.
That was divisive, because I'm friends with two different people on Facebook who talked about it and like saying, ha, I'll bring the marshmallows and stuff. And the same person who's friends with both of them went nuclear and ended up being unfriended by both of them, because they're like, no, see, that's not the answer. You can't answer hate with hate and things and stuff. That's just, and like...
You're answering hate with mockery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not saying...
And probably a fucking awesome YouTube clip.
You literally want to go and set this man on fire. You're just saying, ha, he stated that he would do so. Now I'm implying he better pony up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you set yourself on fire to protest, write the show.
He's just demonstrated himself to be dishonest. He was trying to use emotional blackmail to convince the Supreme Court like a fucking idiot, and then it blew up in his face.
Pretty much. Like, what did he think that was going to happen? The Supreme Court would be like, well, shit. Well, I mean, damn. I mean, we already made all of our arguments in dissent and decided the case. We just hadn't released it yet.
But he said he'd set himself on fire.
Oh, we better go back and reevaluate this.
It's just like the Australian couple who said they're going to divorce if gay marriage happens. And then they were, there's a bunch of people calling for them to divorce and, like, laughing at them. Then one of their friends disinvited them from their wedding because clearly they think that marriage is going to be shit if gay people get it. I don't want you at my wedding. You're not going to celebrate mine because you think marriage is shit. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that, like, technically they said, oh, we're going to get divorced, but we're going to remain living together? But
yes.
Apparently, like, there's some law that says that they can't do that.
Under Australian law, if you're going to get divorced, if you continue living together as a couple, you're not legally divorced.
Because that would be technically a common law, right?
Or something like that, yeah.
Technically, you'd still be together. And if you divorce, that would kind of go, hang on, but you're divorced, you shouldn't be living together as a couple.
Right.
Yeah.
So much fail.
Wow. And so much whining and bitching on the internet, like so many politicians being like, no, shut up, nuh-uh, we're gonna figure something out, you guys. This is not the end. This is not over, okay?
This is in America at least, we're seeing like this burning. But this is gonna burn out. I am very sure that gay marriage is gonna end up like interracial marriage and not like, say, abortion,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because, okay, abortion the reason it's such a hot button issue is frankly because of misogyny. They want to control women but interracial marriage, it doesn't hurt men. In fact, rich white men are more likely to be gay than need an abortion. So
I want to see your statistics on that. I would like to see your sample size.
I'd like to see that, but anyway.
In America, if you're rich, white, and a man, pretty much the culture eventually will transmogrify itself around your wants and needs. Not 100% of the time, but usually. So I'm thinking it's going to end up like interracial marriage, where they're going to be, the majority of the ones who are against it will die out or change their minds. The ones who still are against it are either going to shut up or be basically marginalized by polite society.
Quite honestly, what I think is going to happen is I think that there's a small radical core, like the small white supremacist radical core, and I think they're going to double down because that's a section of the population that will always exist.
Yeah.
But
they'll be marginalized from the mainstream, though.
Should anything, the next big hate crime to happen, I think might be a tide turner against this radical core, just like what's his face that shot up the church 2 weeks ago.
Roof guy.
Yeah.
Did you see in the last week or since the Confederate flags things happened, they've burned 6 black churches, white supremacists have?
Yep, and no major news. I just saw a tweet about that actually a few minutes ago. The only major news agency that's actually devoting time to it is BuzzFeed.
And
that's pathetic.
And there's a white supremacist leader said that the Brown Ruth thing is a preview of things to come, and yet somehow they're still bending over backwards to say it's not terrorism or it's like bigotry against Christians or something.
He's as much a terrorist as Timothy McVeigh was.
Oh yeah, the idea in America is that unless you're a Muslim, you can't be a terrorist, which is fucking insane. I happen to know this because a lot of Americans funded white terrorists in my country. There's acts of terrorism all the time. Like just last week on the Derry Journal, I read that they tweeted that there was a car bomb under an officer's car. That had she not noticed it, they said it was a viable bomb. It could have killed her. And I think someone just got arrested across the river in Ebrington near the barracks for some plot to create a viable bomb. I don't know. I saw it tweeted the other day. Well, there was that firebomb last month. And I saw the house as I was walking to the doctor's office, and it had some smoke damage to the front of it. But there was a police thing up. But it's kind of weird. It's like I left America, which is hyper concerned about terrorism, to come to a place where terrorism happens literally every week. It's like they found another bomb. Like literally, we have to check the stationery section. We call it checking for badgers. Because the cards, the card things like the Hallmark cards. The little drawers underneath, we have to kick them open and just check that there's no devices under there every night. Yeah. So we call it checking for badgers, just so it doesn't it doesn't spook people. And I said to my supervisor, I was like, so suppose there was a badger in the drawer, and I just kicked it. What's going to happen to me? And he sees a great guy in my once in a while. He goes, well, you took one for the team then. And I was like, gee, thanks. I suppose it depends on the nature of the badger.
Well.
Yeah, if it's a timed badger.
Actually, I kind of do want to get a stuffed badger and hide it in one of the drawers.
But you've noticed firsthand, honey, going from America to here, about how living with something for decades it changes the psychology of the people who live there. Like people who live in South Carolina or Florida or whatever are going to be like blasé about hurricanes. They happen, they know what to do.
It is blasé, but keep in mind, and I know this because I had to memorize it for my exam, because my professor who taught this class was instrumental in these studies, that Northern Ireland has the highest rate of PTSD in the world. Even more than, countries in the Middle East, even more than America, which population-wise should top everybody else. This is specifically due to the Troubles.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It has that effect, but it also... when you live with something, you become blasé about it.
That's called habituation.
Yeah, like in Australia, you've got all the crazy animals that want to kill you. And you're just like,
everyone's just used to running over kangaroos and go, oh, there's the kangaroo, and we just ran it over.
They're not endangered, are they?
No, there's a shit ton of them.
I don't know why I thought that they were endangered.
And they're delicious, by the way.
I have eaten kangaroo meat before because you can get it at Iceland. Which is the shop.
Yeah, they started in Northern Ireland selling like kangaroo meat, and like there's a restaurant in Belfast that sells zebra burgers.
Although kangaroo's actually really good for you. It's really lean.
I did try the kangaroo burgers that they have at Iceland, and they were good. Although I do like the venison burgers better because they're better spiced. But you know.
Plus, every single time there's like a food fair or something going on in Northern Ireland, that we have this World Meats burger place that comes in. It's got we've got like springbuck and crocodile and wild boar.
And actually, honey, I'll send you the picture of the kangaroo burger picture that I took when we were in Belfast for the Christmas market, so you can use it to edit this part.
Okay.
Well, the one thing I'll say about roux is it's better just as a lump of meat, like a steak, because it hasn't got very much fat, so it doesn't burger as well as other meats. So if you can get it just as a fillet or a steak, try it then. It is so much better.
I might have to look into this. Because I did like eating steak, but I stopped eating so much beef. I try to only eat beef once a month or so, because it's not very good for you, but
But on the LGBT things...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Enough about steak. Back to gays.
Lebanon legalized gay sex, but oddly, that was not the direct ruling. That was a side effect of the ruling. The ruling was that it was something involving a trans person, because it was the court case that decided this was sex between a trans woman and a cis man. So, but as I said, they decided this was legal. But I think they recognized that she was a woman, and at the same time recognized that gay sex was legal. And but this is one of the rare occasions when a trans rights thing goes sidesteps into gay rights as well.
Hooray, trans rights.
Which is, it's good for Lebanon, definitely. It's what's like 2 countries in the Middle East where it's legal? No, 3. Turkey, Israel, Lebanon.
Does Turkey count as the Middle East? Because I always counted it as part of Europe.
A tiny bit's in Europe and a tiny bit, and most of it's in the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
Because Constantinople or Istanbul, is it's on the sort of the verge between the two. It's like on the sort of bit of water between the Middle East and Europe, but if you look at the map,
Byzantine Empire.
Only a tiny bit of it's actually on Europe.
Oh. I should know this. My sister's best friend throughout like all of school. Her father was Turkish, and they would go back and forth to Turkey and whatnot for summer holidays.
Oh, I know some people that went to Turkey before. It seemed nice, although seeing their reaction to a Pride march recently, I'm not entirely sure I want to go. They the police set water cannons.
I saw that. It was on the news tonight.
I thought I thought Pride was legal in Turkey because they're all secular. At least
It was, but they made the excuse that it was interfering with Ramadan.
Okay.
That's the excuse they made for stopping it.
There's kind of those ones like legal on the books, but not in practice.
Yeah.
Well, they could have they could move Pride to after Ramadan. I mean, Northern Ireland has its Pride marches in August.
Yeah. Is there anything in Derry? Because my coworker said that there was, but I don't remember you ever mentioning it, so...
Apparently there is, but I have never been.
I was like, what, is there like 3 people and like 1 hot dog stand? And he's like, oh, no, I think there's a parade. I was like, well, I'm going to go to one in Belfast if I can get the day off.
Yeah, I don't think there's a party type thing, but there is a parade. I've seen pictures, but I've never been.
Oh.
I'm happy to go with you, though, if we're able to.
If I can get the day off. Which is the linchpin for everything. But see, one thing that I didn't like about the ruling, the SCOTUS ruling, was the fact that you have these people that come out of the woodwork to just be like, yeah, see, well, you might have got this, but the fight isn't over and things and stuff, and you think you've won, but children are dying in a small Eastern European country, and someone has cancer, and I was just like, what?
What's that got to do with gay marriage?
Can you not just give me 12 hours? Like, I know that the next big step is transgender rights, and I know that transgender people are literally killed every day in every country because people are horrible. I know this, and it's horrible, and I want to do what I can.
Why'd you bring up the Eastern European country thing? Because no one has said that in reaction to the marriage ruling.
Because I was looking for a hyperbolous thing to say.
because I've seen people mention the trans thing. They also mention that in 29 states you can be fired for being gay. So there's going to be at least one person.
Because someone on my Facebook was all like, yeah, but what about childhood mortality in other countries and things and stuff, and what about vaccinations in Africa, and like starts just pulling everything in, and I was like,
oh, see, that's a derailing tactic.
I was like, just give me 12 hours, okay? Just let me be happy about one thing for 12 hours before you start shitting all over it.
If you bring up something that's LGBT related, to compare it to marriage, that's fine. But yeah, bring up something that's got nothing to do with it. Yeah, that's a derailing tactic. It's like, how dare you be more interested in the thing that I'm not interested in?
Like, I mean, my uncle did it accidentally for the DOMA ruling 2 years ago. I posted about it on Facebook. I was like, things and stuff. And he's like, yeah, but it came at the expense of the voter ID thing. And then I think he realized he was kind of coming across as a dick, and he was like, but I didn't mean to rain on your parade. I mean, certainly be happy about this.
What do you mean it came at the expense? They weren't the same ruling.
No, but I think it was kind of like, oh, we got a good ruling. He's like, yes, but don't forget that they made a really bad ruling the day before. It was my Uncle Phil. And then I think he immediately realized that he was kind of being a dick, and he was like, I mean, but certainly, feel great about this because it is really great.
But I definitely feel that LGBT people in America should remember all of the shitty things that LGBT things get, and be happy and celebrate. But there's a hell of a lot of people who are in worse situations than just being unable to marry.
Yeah, I know.
Directly LGBT related.
Give it at least 12 to 36 hours, okay? Just let people be happy. I don't know.
There's going to be a sizable group of people who are going to stop giving a shit about LGBT stuff now because marriage was the big thing that was going for. A lot of people leapt on marriage because it became clear it was going to happen. And then there's going to be like the well-off gay guy, mostly guys like from New York or California, whatever, who have protections from being fired, who aren't going to give a shit about the other things. And so it's going to be the ones who marriage isn't really going to help, who are going to have to push for them. And that's why they're being a bit. It's the ones who are already. If you're so well off that the only thing you have to worry about in America is not being able to marry, then it's the ones who don't even get that, who are a bit upset.
I know. It just seems like.
It's like
I don't know how to describe what about that annoys me. It's like the kind of person who you post on your Facebook and you'd be like, I had a really great day. I got 2 loads of laundry done, and then I baked cookies and things and stuff. Who would post, yeah, but I just read this article that cookies are really bad for you. Like that kind of person that always has to inject themselves into everything and be a downer.
No.
Or you're like, I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to say anything.
Possibly we agree to disagree,
I guess.
Well, we've already established, honey, that between the two of us, I am the SJW.
That's true.
I'm so much of an SJW that I think it's ridiculous to even make it an insult.
Yeah.
What's the other one, saying a non-warrior who doesn't like social justice? What are you, a socially unjust coward? What? Makes no sense.
I want to be the morally ambiguous ninja who sometimes, stops by and helps you out. But sometimes I have to side with the bad guy because they've tricked me in some way.
I'm sort of like that too. If I feel like it, I'll comment, but half the time I'll just go, I'm just going to watch this burn and just let this happen. I'm just going to watch this.
That should be a new thing. Let's meme it. If you're a morally ambiguous ninja, write the show. Just saying. But we're getting on in time, and I know that you want to talk about your native land, Flying Brick.
Ah, yes, the native land where everything can kill you.
Tell us about your hinterland.
Well, back to the whole legal in practice, but no one... damn it, I'm screwing up with this. But it's legal, but you'll get weird looks if you do it. It is actually legal to carry a gun in Australia. You can literally you can sling it over your shoulder and carry a shotgun down the street.
I don't understand why people do that, especially in America where they all do it. Guns are expensive, and you're carrying it openly. All that's doing is saying to thieves, I have a gun. And if you come up behind them, you can put a gun against their head and then take the gun from them. You're advertising you got something expensive.
Well,
and unless they come at you from the front, you got no chance. The ones who are hiding it, Okay, understandable. Once you show off, why we're holding a gun?
You're not allowed to have concealed weapons in Australia.
In America, though, there's bits where you can have concealed weapons. That makes at least logical sense from the guy carrying the weapon. You know, they're a fucking coward who feels the need to wander around with a gun, but the other ones are completely fucking stupid.
Well, open carry is, I mean, it's like one of those legal things that was just around and no one paid attention to, but now it's like a form of protest.
It's stupid.
Quite honestly, if I was in a place of business and somebody walked in with a large assault rifle, I would immediately clasp my hands behind my head, get down on my knees, and say, don't shoot, I'm unarmed, don't shoot. And I'd make it seem like I was being taken hostage, because you know what? That would be my reaction if someone comes up with a gun. If I was in a restaurant and somebody walks in with an assault rifle, I would take a wad of money, toss it at the cashier, and run for my life. Then I would call 911. And then, you know, if the police showed up, they're like, oh, we're just open carry. Well, how was I supposed to know that?
At least you're white, because if you were black and you did that, the police would come and shoot you instead.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But honey, you wanted to discuss Australian movies and television while we had an actual Australian with us. Did you not?
Yes. I have recently been watching Danger 5. Now, I saw a trailer for it in reaction. It was commented on, where someone linked, they linked Kung Fury, and I looked at the trailer and was like, okay, this looks awesome. It's really expensive to import, but I'll get the first season. I've since watched the first season and all but one episode of the second season, and I really like it, while Omega's like, I find this unfunny because I am an Omega.
What? I never said that.
I'm totally not making stuff up.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. So.
Well, it goes into the realms of stupid funny, like you go, oh god, I'm just going to keep watching this, but I don't know why.
Well,
a lot of Australian TV does that. The good Australian TV does it.
The first season reminded me of Monty Python Meets the Man from U.N.C.L.E., set in World War II.
Mm.
And if you've seen my TV reviews, people know that I like 60s television. So it's really nice to see it parodied for once. Like, the second season is less interesting because 80s is very overdone.
Mm.
But the first season, that was wonderful. It was nice to see a 60s parody with like Thunderbirds bits and Prisoner bits. It was all great. And at QCon in Belfast last weekend, I went around QCon cosplaying as Colonel Chestbridge.
Nice.
But what did you think of it, honey?
I thought it was funny. It was definitely funny. I mean, you know, very witty and looks like work had been put in. I like the 60s one better than the 80s one.
I find the 80s one gets a bit repetitive, but it does go completely insane by the end.
Well, I think the thing with the 80s one, and Zara, that was a point that you made when we were watching it, is that the 60s is less parodied than the 80s right now. So we've all seen, get it, because it's so 80s. But
Series 2's got Sean McAuliffe in it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but
didn't he play the headmaster in the high school episode?
He played the headmaster. He played a couple of the Nazis as well, like just different Nazis. Here's the strange thing. He surprisingly does a good Nazi. He's been Nazis in a few things.
You're just the best at being a Nazi, sir. Oh, gee.
And the honey, whenever you went to
he writes himself as a Nazi a lot.
Honey, when you went to work and I was left, waiting in your room, for my pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I watched 3 episodes of it, and the last one I saw, they were in the USSR, which was a theme park. Khrushchev was after this blonde woman who can't die, and Hitler raised a bunch of Nazi zombies, because Hitler had been killed in the previous episode, but however, Hitler brought a gun into hell and killed Satan and resurrected himself and a bunch of Nazis as zombies. Mm-hmm. So it was a zombie movie inside USSR-themed theme park, and then he possessed the body of the girl, and they went back in time to World War II. So, the next time... The next time trailer, which for the episode I haven't seen yet, features both seasons meeting, including both Pierres.
Huh.
So I almost watched it last night, but I was working.
I don't want to spoil it. It's actually quite good.
See, you know so much more about Australian movies than I do, because I have literally seen nothing.
That comment could be addressed to me or Brick.
No, I meant you, because I expect Brick to know, because you're from that land. That's your people's.
The thing about Australian cinema is it's very easy to not give a shit about half of it, because it's usually pretentious shit.
I saw the Babadook. It was good.
I haven't seen Babadook. I haven't seen it.
It was very brilliant.
Over here, we tend to get we don't get the pretentious Australian stuff. We tend to get the lower rent,
the good
stuff.
Australian stuff,
the exploitation.
Yes.
But years before I started my show, whenever I was in university, I had this thing with my sort of friends where we would have cinema nights and watch 2 or 3 films with takeaway, and a lot of the films we watched ended up on the Hagen Reviews. This was basically like a precursor. It was like, here we go, friends. Here's mad films to watch. And just before I started those cinema nights, I picked up a copy of Not Quite Hollywood, the documentary about exploitation. I ended up buying about 50 of the films that they listed, including like Man from Hong Kong and Turkey Shoot and all. And that started my whole thing about Australian cinema. I was already a fan of Australian TV with John Safran and The Chaser and all. But yeah, I'm a bit of an Aussie-phile.
Oh yeah.
See, I saw this documentary on Netflix that was from Australia. And it was about cane toads, and I was like, well, and I was in an altered state when I was watching this, and I was like, well, it's cane toads. Wow, it's a terrible economic thing happening here. This eating all the agriculture and all the animals and stuff. It's terrible. But like it was so weird because the documentary was half serious but half not serious. Because it'd have some expert being like, well, the cane toad is really horrible and things and stuff, giving all these statistics, but then they'd have, like, a recreation of what actually happened with, like, this one woman who saw her dog licking a cane toad, and she was like, oh, no, and took the dog barely alive to the vet, and the dog pulled through, and the vet's like, well, he pulled through. And then, like, she saw him doing it again the next week, and they figured out that the dog was intimidating the cane toad and then, like, getting it riled up enough to excrete venom, licking the venom and getting high. And so, like, they showed this. They had, like the woman was like, oh no, Spoochy Poops, are you okay? And then they had, like...
The dog's just fucking high.
No, they have the dog's head, like, spinning around in a circle, like kaleidoscope-wise, with, like, all these psychedelic things going on. I'm like, whoa. This fucking cane toad. It's on Netflix if you can find it.
I don't have a Netflix account.
See,
like, Netflix here works a bit differently because a lot of the libraries... not licensed for Australia. Even Australian stuff isn't licensed for on Netflix. It's licensed. We've got 3 providers, and they pretty much have a fight over who has what. So, yeah.
Use a VPN. VPN into the UK or US.
Yes, yeah. That's how I got Hotline Miami too, which actually got banned here for a 2-second sex scene.
Seriously?
2 seconds.
Yeah, I heard that
Seriously.
like your government is very conservative
Dickish.
about like stuff like that.
The rules, half the rules for what's an R rating and what's unrated, because R rating only came in for video games only 2-3 years ago. But a lot of the rules, like a lot of them are no shit Sherlock. Like you're not allowed to have kids being fucked and that.
Oh yeah.
Or anything
where the dead gonna die? What will you do now?
Yes. But a lot of it's really subjective as well. Like, it's up to the individual reviewer, and most of the reviewers are uptight conservatives. So this 2-second sex scene of Pig Butcher getting on this woman, and then immediately afterwards the director yells cut and they all get up and walk away and go break for lunch. And that's what got it banned. But the thing from the classification board was this page-long document detailing how that this man has climbed on top of her and has proceeded to rape her, probably anally. And I'm like, oh my god. This from a 2-second pixel scene of a pixel man jumping on top of a pixel woman.
Wow.
Yeah. I've honestly seen worse scrawn on the back of bloody textbooks with the caption, me, your mum.
You should look at the movie, This Film's Not Yet Rated, which deals with the MPA in America and how you got
It's scary.
It's similar sort of thing.
Yeah. But back to cinema and that. I remember in Year 12 we had to watch, this is the more pretentious end of the Aussie film scale. It was a movie based on a play about this guy that gets cancer and like follows his journey in that. It is called Look Both Ways, and if I have to see it again, I will kill myself because it is that horribly. It's not a bad movie. It's just when you have to watch it and pretty much analyze every second of it because your last year of school grade depends on it, you learn to hate it. You just learn to hate it.
And that's why I hate every movie I review.
But yeah, there's some good ones. Like, I was talking to you before about Fat Pizza, which was late 90s, early 2000s for the first lot, and then they did another lot in the late 2000s. And that's some funny shit. Like, they did a movie in between that, and it's some good shit. Like, essentially, it's about this pizza shop, and it focuses on Paulie, one of the delivery drivers, who's played by Paul Fennick, who wrote it, directed it, stars in it, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some very, very, very funny shit. And over the years, he's done another show called Swift and Shift Couriers, where he plays Mario, the main courier. And then he's done another one called Housos, where he plays a character whose name I can't remember, who's the main character in that, and that's about bogans in a bogan neighborhood.
Oh,
and
bogans.
It's hilarious. Like, there's a bit where the local Lebanese gang tried to do a drive-by shooting, but they've got to wind the windows down and just got rained with shards of glass. So they're just they're all sitting in the hospital with, like, little dots of paper all over them. Fucking a bib didn't wind down the window.
See, I'm racking my head trying to think of Australian things. I've heard of, there's a show, Neighbours, that apparently is really popular in England, but not in Australia.
It's insanely popular. There's two shows like that, Neighbours and Home and Away, and I cannot stand either of them.
They're soap operas,
yeah? They're soap. They're the soapiest soap that ever did soap.
I don't know if this might be an urban myth, but apparently there was at least a period of time when they weren't getting enough viewers in Australia to keep going, but the viewers from other parts of the world, especially England, were keeping them afloat.
I'd heard that too, but it must have been before I heard anything about it, because it's been going for fucking ages.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculously long amounts of time.
It's like, everybody needs good neighbors. Just like Jason Donovan and Kylie Minogue.
And the second that song started playing, I would just mash the remote to any button, and it would usually switch to SBS and whatever SBS porn was on.
Oh,
wow. SBS does a few things: Australian cinema, random other cinema, and porn.
And Danger 5.
Yeah, and Danger 5. Like,
only shows on Australian TV.
It should be. But Danger 5 started off as a web show.
SBS had Ranimator on the other night.
Was it the uncut Ranimator?
I think so.
Because
I know they had Bride of Reanimated last night.
Are they going to show Beyond Reanimator?
They're on my PVR recorder. I haven't got around to watching them yet.
Are they going to watch? Are they going to put on Beyond Reanimator?
I have no idea. I've just
Beyond Reanimator.
Oh, sorry.
Beyond Reanimator is amazing because the film is set in Massachusetts, because all the Reanimator films are. They're set around the town of Arkham, but Beyond Reanimator is filmed in Spain, with primarily Spanish actors, and it's set in a prison. So what you have is, if they'd set this in California or New Mexico or whatever, it probably would have been fine. It's like, wow, this Massachusetts is suddenly very warm and lots of Latinos around. It's hilarious. God. So, I mean, some of the characters are even dubbed with not quite so Spanish accents, but you can still tell because it's just insane. And then the only other they got one more person who does not have a either terribly dubbed or a Spanish accent is Jason someone or other. He takes over from Dan Kane as Herbert West's assistant, and he's played by an Irish actor. So you got this Irish guy trying to do a terrible American accent. It's like, dude, get a fucking American. You've got a bunch of Spanish people, an Irish guy, and Jeffrey Combs. This is supposed to be Massachusetts.
It's a specific part of Massachusetts, the Irish-Spanish
quarter
part of Massachusetts.
You know, El Bostono.
El Bostono. All right, that's got to be the name for this week's episode.
Okay. Well, another show that you might want to look into is called Life Support, and that's another SBS one. They did 3 seasons, and they are all fucking hilarious. It is essentially a parody on like Better Homes and Gardens and all those lifestyle shows.
Cool.
So it's like tips on how to live your life, but it was done late 90s, early 2000s, like a lot of the shit that I watch. Because, again, late night SBS TV fucking rocks. But when it's not porn and when it's not random Asian music.
It sounds a little bit like how Channel 5 was whenever it started first in the UK. It basically was the football and fucking channel.
Often at the same time.
SBS has your football. It doesn't have our football.
Oh, so it's got actual football rather than mutant Gaelic.
Shut up! American football is awesome.
Oh no, we're talking about Australian rules.
We don't have American football usually. We have Aussie rules, but
yeah, which is basically like it's basically a lot like Gaelic football. Irish sort of, it's similar.
Yeah, but yeah, one of them is how to drive without a seatbelt and not get sprung. You just make a white t-shirt with a black line down it, and just wear that.
Or you could be a rebel and, hold the thing, get the belt and put it over you and then hold it there rather than click it in and be all like, yeah, I look like I'm safe, but I'm not.
And another one was how to stop your dog running away. You just put a nicotine patch on it every day.
Jesus!
And another one was how to get your grandma's fence repainted. You just sneak in there with the bloody spray can at 2 a.m. and just paint Nazi slogans all over it, because originally any graffiti would do, but now you have to do something special. But the council will be by in less than a week to deal with it.
Well, I heard a joke like that this guy, he'd been done for many, many bank robberies. They were pressuring to tell him, all right, tell us where you hid the money. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he wrote a letter to his dad, and he said, Dad, I know that every year you and I go through when we replant your garden, and it's a bonding time for both of us, and I know that you're getting on in age now and stuff, but I just want to tell you, please do.
I hid the money in the garden.
No, he says, please do not have anyone mess with the garden this year. Thank you. So of course, because his mail's being read from prison, they go and they dig up the garden. They don't find anything, and then the guy gets a letter back from his father being like, "Oh, son, thank you for having my garden done this year."
I've heard a variation of that, and it was a serial killer, and he said the bodies were there.
Mm.
Yeah. So the FBI just digs up his dad's garden for him and he says, thanks, son.
But as much fun as we are having down under, we cannot be lax in observing the time of our favorite friend, which is Giovanni the Lobster, who was so angry at all of you listeners that he had to change the fundamental format of the show. And so he's going to be presenting a trivia fact instead of a question. And we have gone through and we have actually picked one for him to read, a special lobster fact that Hagen found.
Yep.
So Giovanni, are you with us today? Yeah, boss, I'm here, and I appreciate you finding me a special lobster-based question. Don't get me wrong, it's really awesome, but or a fact, I mean, it's no longer my question because nobody cared. But here we go. Did you know? Most lobsters are greenish-brown in color, though occasionally ones will turn up in shades of blue, partly white, or bright red. Why is this? Why does this happen? Is this even true? Yes, it is. It's true. These lobsters, those blue, partly white, or brightly red, have genetic defects in the pigment of their shell.
You're a mutant.
Shut the fuck up, Hagen. So
You're also a delicious mutant.
Don't think that I don't have lobster mafia that can get to you down yonder, Australia. Because I do. We know about you people. We know where you live.
You're also plush.
We have snakes.
I have a shell. Oh, come at me, snakes.
Snakes don't care.
Let's go. Come at me, bro.
They can eat you whole.
That's why you clip yourself out. That's what these are for.
click, 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 click.
But anyway.
Oh, look at me, I'm Giovanni, I'm all red, and I go click, 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 because I'm a lobster. But no, I can't go click, click, because I'm a fucking plush.
I'm gonna clip your ears off. See how well you get along in the podcast, Jen. But anyway, my adoring radio public. Shut up, Hog, and I'm talking. My adoring radio public, that's been me. That's been Giovanni. I'm gonna fuck off and do something else now, so,
He sounds upset.
Look, see, like, all of your abuse of him, of years and years, has worn him down.
Oh.
You just really, yeah.
I can get him a Yabby so he can have a friend.
He has a little crab friend. But, so, Flying Brick, if people wanted to find you on the internet and support you or follow you on social media, how would they go about doing so?
Well, I've got my YouTube channel, which I have given to Hagen as a link, but like I've said, the internet here is like 2 cups connected with strings, so uploading's a little bit slow. You can type in a Flying Brick and my icon should come up.
Okay, yeah. The icon is a little bit angry-looking person with black hair.
Not a brick, not an actual brick.
Yeah, and it looks a little bit like a school uniform.
It's actually a long story, but I actually drew that long ago, and I just haven't found anything better to replace it with.
Yeah, your icon just looks like you're fed up with this shit. It's like flying is no longer fun.
I'm fed up with this world.
And I'm covered in sparkles.
Yeah.
Sparkly flying brick in your face. That should totally be a thing that you do. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
I can draw it later.
But
anyway,
I've
got that. I've also got my DeviantArt page, which is drawing 24/7, and I'll give it to Hagen so she can type it up properly. So it's better than I can probably say it. I haven't updated it for a while because I've been busy with work and shit, basically. But if you want to see shit that I've drawn, and the only reason why I know how to spell necrophilia, go check that out too. Aside from that, I've got Tumblr, but don't really use it much. So yeah, just check out my YouTube channel. Latest video was me playing a little game called Collateral Damage, because the game I wanted to play didn't want to fucking work. So I played Collateral Damage instead.
So the game was, the other game was Collateral Damage. So you playing that game?
No, this game that I decided to replace it with is Collateral Damage. It's actually a fun little game. You get to be a cat and you get to knock your owner's possessions on the floor.
I've seen that. I saw Nash, he tweeted about that a while back.
My cat's out of that. I have like papers and stuff on the windowsill behind where I do my editing, and the cats sit up there, and it's not like it's something that's standing up and so they can easily knock it over. They actually have to push the papers off, and it's like, why are you doing that?
But yeah, that's essentially what that game is. So I played the first level and just said, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I'm just occasionally meowing as I jump. It's 10 minutes of me playing that. Aside from that, I've been playing a lot of Payday 2, which is fun. Planning on doing a few more videos of that. But those are quite long, which is why the uploads take ages. But it's a fun game. Essentially, you're a bank robber. You rob banks.
And get away with it.
Pretty much. Like, you wear clown masks and you just go, fuck you, cops. And the character I play as, they did a crossover with the guys that made Hotline Miami, so it's the guy from Hotline Miami. But because he's a silent protagonist, they gave him a tape recorder with just random bits of speech on it.
Hello, people from Hotline Miami. I want to play a game.
No, it's essentially like airport voiceovers and train voiceovers and that, so it's just like...
Oh, do you know the greatest airport... Do you know what the greatest airport voiceover ever was? One that we heard in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now this one is so surreal that we had to actually turn to each other and confirm the other one heard it. We hadn't had a psychotic break. But it was a normal type 1, and then at the end it was, and please remember to meow, 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 meow.
And, like, I heard that, this was, like, at 4 in the morning.
And then they repeated it.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I had an oral hallucination. I am so tired from getting up at 2 to drive down to Dulles that I've hallucinated. And then I looked at her and I'm like, about to tell her, oh my gosh, do you know what I just heard? She goes, did you hear that? Because I heard that. Did you hear that? Shit, we didn't hallucinate it. That was real.
Well, it's not an actual person, but there's a voice at Southern Cross Station, which is the train station in Melbourne, that sounds like it's just a woman being held hostage, being forced to record all the lines for when they say, the train has been delayed. But just sounds like a woman that's being held hostage, and it's hilarious.
Southern Cross Station, twinned with King's Cross Station in London.
Because everything in Australia kills you.
Yeah.
But, so that has been us.
Please be advised that you should not board the train on the platform. And it's hilarious.
Well, that has been us. That has been episode 88. We have had our guest, the Flying Brick. I have been the Omega. And honey, who do you have?
Flying Brick.
A Flying Brick, not the Flying Brick.
Yes.
And honey, who do you want to have been this week?
Roger Ward.
Works for me.